Christmas and happy holidays, Cleveland. The music that you are hearing, We Three Kings, was performed by a friend of the show and local musician, Nate Strumfel. We have an amazing guest today, so grab your eggnog and figgy pudding and get ready for the show.
Coming to you from deep beneath the murky waters that lie beyond the Lake Erie shoreline. This is the Cleveland Podcast! With Fred the Mud Monster and South Bay Caesar. Find us online at Facebook.com/The Cleveland Podcast or email us at theclevelandpodcast@gmail.com. Now, join us as we journey through Northeast Ohio and the city of Cleveland.
Hey, Fred!
Ho, ho, ho.
It's that time of the year.
Indeed it is. It is the time of the bells ringing and the caroling and all the different presents people buy and the budgets going belly under, and it is that time for the wonderful, most amazing Christmas. And we are here in a very special location.
The Bumpus House.
And you might be asking, what's the Bumpus House? Well, Caesar, what is it?
We're right next door to A Christmas Story house.
A Christmas Story house, which is a little bit odd to say.
This is where how many dogs was it?
755.
We'll ask our guest here in just a second.
Yeah, right.
This is where all the dogs from A Christmas Story, the movie, were from.
Right. So then, of course, again, we have another guest, and this guest is quite the special one. We have someone who is the lead tour guide for A Christmas Story house. This is someone who knows so much about Christmas, it must drive him sick.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but clearly you got the wrong tour guide. I'm messing with you. My name is Ernie. I am the lead tour guide here at A Christmas Story house. I'm giving you that look.
Yeah, right.
Because you know what that means.
Yeah.
Because after, working here for 3 years, 6 days consistently, and you live Christmas every single day of your life for 8 hours a day. It's so amazing.
Given that you're the lead tour guide, we'll naturally have a whole bunch of questions. But first, tell us about yourself. Obviously, you're the lead tour guide, but you have a bunch of other interesting little traits and characteristics.
Well, for starters, I'm a father of 3.
Ooh.
I have a toddler at home. She's 7 months, so I'm very proud of that. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old as well, too.
Ooh, that might be kind of tough.
And they're all girls. Yeah,
Oof.
I know.
It's a little bit tough.
Trust me, I'm mentally kind of prepared for this.
Oh, that's fair.
But other than that, outside of this, I actually have a career where I pursue my dance career. I have my dance major, and then I also do DJing as well too. Now, I work for a company called Fusion Marketing Group, which is outside of North Olmsted. Mm-hmm. And it's actually a company where they send out dancers, DJs, and MCs to like certain parts of the United States of America to promote for certain things, like it has in Metro Health, United Healthcare, Soybean Company, Northern Tech Time. Like we do a whole bunch of other advertisement for other companies as well too. And then my expertise come in handy because I'm the break dancer of the crew. So during this assembly, while we're educating kids about whatever does need to be educated about the topic, I come out with some break dancing to entertain and also to wake them up as well too, in that boring part of where they're talking as well too.
Oh yeah, right.
So all the crazy tricks, the head spins and the defying gravity, handstands, and probably breaking things, tearing things, and rupturing things. I do all of those.
Oh yeah, I think I tried. I actually used to think I could maybe dance, and I remember I was in my one of my AP history classes in high school, and I said, I could do a handstand. Trust me. Now, as a mud monster and a very heavy being, I should have not expected that I would be able to pull off a handstand, but I actually did it for a couple, maybe 3-4 seconds. So I was feeling kind of good. And then all of a sudden everything gave out and I just tumble on the floor and I swear everyone goes, earthquake, earthquake. And it's go, hey, hold on. I'm only 250.
Yeah, see, now they over exaggerated. If I was there, I would have just laughed. I wouldn't have said earthquake. So, I mean,
Right.
you would have my support.
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh man, but I've always been interested in like doing handstands. Like my family actually is both were gymnasts.
Okay.
My dad was far more serious of a gymnast than my mother. My mother was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." My dad was actually like a coach, and even coached someone that almost went to the Olympics. This is a really fun story. She almost went there, but due to circumstances, she couldn't go. I mean, she was really good. And then my dad was a serious gymnast, and, he wasn't like the best gymnast in the world, but he knew people who went to the Olympics and all that, and trained with people who went to the Olympics and would become coaches now. It was kind of insane. And, but now he's just a regular old consultant.
I mean, at least he still has some of that coaching experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just now when you go do your handstand, just remember to spread your fingers apart and tighten up your core muscles, and you'll get it.
Oh yeah, right. Sometimes he goes, "Yeah, this is what you did wrong," and it's like it's so weird because he goes from gymnast to management consultant. It's a very strange transition, but I guess we all have those multiple talents and multiple things. Like the break dancer and a lead tour guide. And all those wonderful things, but. Enough about, the Mud Monster family. Let us proceed to some of the questions on the Christmas story because, well, we are here at the Bumpus House, which was how many dogs again?
It has 780,000 hound dogs.
Right. Well, that's what the little kid says. Right. Trust me, there are no dogs at this time, although I do hear some barking.
Well, that barking you hear is our friendly dog neighbor, Buster. Actually, he's been here for a while, and he actually roams the neighborhood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot. Well, he's a very friendly dog, and especially around this time of the year when it's really busy and, it's cold outside and people are standing outside to get into the house, Buster literally just walks up and down the sidewalk, and people take pictures with him and pet him, and they call him a Bumpus Hound.
Wow, that's interesting.
He'll literally walk inside of the Christmas Story house if he wants to.
Wow, that's quite the special dog. We couldn't even do that. And we're not dogs. So then maybe because our audience is actually around the world, we have quite a few listeners from different countries and, different parts of the state. It's not like we have 1,000 listeners, but, we certainly have a very wide variety of listeners. So perhaps you can tell our audience where exactly the location of the Christmas Story complex is.
So the exact location for some of those who do want to come to Cleveland, Ohio to visit the actual Christmas Story house, it's off of Clark and Raleigh Avenue. So what you'll do is if you were coming off of the freeway, if you were getting off 90 West, you would get off on West 14th. You would go all the way down 14th until you hit either Clark or Raleigh Avenue. Mm-hmm. If you want to get right in front of the house, I say make a left onto Raleigh Avenue. And you go down the street, and that'll put you directly in front of the Christmas Story house and right next door to our local bar.
Ah, interesting. Everything's a bar. What's the local bar?
So the local bar is actually called the Raleigh Inn. And a nice little fun fact about the local bar, it's actually been open for 100 plus years, actually.
Wow. 100 plus years?
Yes.
Really? So then, goodness, that's longer than the Christmas Story. So then, how do we know how that came to be? Like, it's just kind of like someone goes, I just want to open up an inn.
Well, it started off as a family business, and then it just went throughout the family through generations and generations of the family. And actually, another fun fact, that local bar, the Raleigh Inn, actually plays a part in the Christmas Story house as well, too.
Ah.
It plays a very important part of the Christmas Story house, even to where Bob Clark and Gene Shepard ever found the house. If it wasn't for that local bar, they would have never, ever discovered this house.
Mm.
Really?
So they went to the bar.
So they did see this house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to film right here in that house. But when they knocked on the door, nobody was at home. So they decided to go on their break, and they went to the Raleigh Inn, which was the local bar. And they were just discussing about the house. And the owner of the bar was sitting right next to them. Wow. I mean, the owner of the house was sitting directly next to them.
Oh, really?
The whole entire time. He had just got off work because he worked in a local steel mill behind the house.
Uh-huh. And
he just got off work in the morning and went to get his usual morning beer. And, that's when Bob Clark and Gene Shepard ran into him there.
So for people who don't know, the back of the house, it overlooks the steel yard.
Right. You could even hear some of the steel. Well, not now because obviously we closed the doors. But that's really interesting. So this guy literally could just go, all right, I'm off to work. You could just walk down, almost walk down if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to walk down that hill.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I personally like a challenge.
I'm guessing that they probably chose that because it is near the steel mill and they wanted to be like the small town setting.
So yes, that is correct. What they needed was they needed a town that looked like it still belonged in the 30s and the 40s.
Right.
And unfortunately, Cleveland, Ohio was it.
We were actually just talking about this before. It still kind of looks old timey too.
It is. We're still in the past.
Like all these houses are 100 years old in this neighborhood.
Actually, the Christmas Story house was originally built 1852.
Wow.
1852.
Yes.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Old even for this neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and then majority of the houses were all built around that time as well too. Even this house that you're in right now, the Bumpus House was built around that time.
Oh, okay.
So we're still stuck in the past here, and our sport team is too.
Yes, my sports team is not, but
you don't want to know. You don't want to know who he roots for.
I don't even. Just go ahead.
The Ravens.
Wow.
Well, I am from there.
The original Browns.
Yeah, right.
He's from Baltimore.
But I was going to say that given that these houses are old, this explains the wallpaper.
But this wallpaper actually personally came from my house, so I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment you're getting out there.
Then potentially, well, I mean, it's not bad, I suppose. It's just it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit busy.
Yeah, we try our best not to keep up with the color scheme here.
Right. I mean, it does match the red. But going on to some other things about the Christmas Story house. So obviously, we have a multitude of questions for you.
Yes.
About this whole house. So
about
obviously
780,000 questions.
Before we go there, let's talk a little bit about Tremont.
Yeah.
Do you go to any of the local bars or restaurants, or do you live around here?
So I don't live around here. Okay. I actually live 10 minutes away. I'm stationed on the east side of Cleveland. Yeah. The good part of east side of Cleveland. Just want to put that out there.
Oh, yeah. Right. Because there's certain parts that you might not want to go.
Yeah. Certain parts have some very interesting history to where people come to Cleveland and go, oh, well, yeah, don't go in this area. It's on the east side of Cleveland. And then when I tell people, oh, yeah, I live on the east side of Cleveland, they go, oh, my gosh, how do you do it? I'm like, I just go home every day and stay there.
Right. Just, you got to do what you got to do. I live on the east side, too. So, everyone just goes, oh, you poor thing. I'm like, I live near University Circle. Like, they ain't nothing.
Well, that's interesting because I live off of 71st and Superior, so you're right around the corner from me.
Exactly right.
So for people who are traveling to Cleveland to visit the Christmas Story house, what would be some other things that they could do while they come into town? Well, I mean, because somebody who is traveling from out of town, this is probably going to be a few hours of their day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd probably want to do some other things. Is there anything in this local area, Tremont, Cleveland, that would be fun to do?
I can literally spend a whole day in Cleveland and do things and still be interested the whole entire day.
Right.
So, of course, we have the Christmas Story house and museum, and then we also have the Rock Hall. Some people look past the Great Lakes Science Center. I know some people go past it because they genuinely think it's for kids, but I mean, you'll catch me in there. I'm having just as much fun as them.
Oh, yeah. I used to volunteer there, and let me tell you, I wanted to be in that ball pit just like all the other kids. But this is legitimately really interesting, science. So, it's very educational.
And it's extremely interactive. That's what makes it extremely fun as well, too. Like, not too many places are as interactive as some of the things we have here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Absolutely.
And the Science Center being one of those. Then we have the MoCA building, which is one of my favorite places to go. It's the Museum of Cleveland Art Building. That's what the MoCA stands for. Mm-hmm. So it's by University Circle, and it's extremely interesting because it's a big building and it's all mirrors on the outside.
Right.
But it's a two-way mirror, so you can't see inside, but the people that's inside can see you outside. And I've actually had a pretty couple of experiences there as well, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because as a dancer, I'm always dancing. I love music. And before I had a car, I was always on the bus. And there was times where I have to go past that building. And it has mirrors. So, I'm going to dance in the mirrors as I would at home or anywhere else I can see my reflection. Until one time I seen the mirror open up. And there was a security guard right there on the other side. He's like, you got some pretty good moves. I was like, how long was you standing there?
It's like I've watched you my whole life.
And MoCA is kind of like modern art, right?
Yes.
Kind of abstract almost.
Yes, from local Cleveland artists here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
So it's actually really cool. Just imagine how many people actually pick their nose in front of that building and just think nobody sees it.
Oh yeah, I just kind of just walk past it. I mean,
with his head down really fast.
Oh yeah, just like nobody's gonna notice me. But sometimes I will check and say, "Well, I lost like 5 pounds today."
He's like showing off his leg in the mirror, and they're just watching him.
I mean, I kind of know who's behind this, so sometimes I will kind of do something ridiculous for every once in a while. Sometimes I'll just creepily smile at it, like the Twilight Zone. I'm like, I'll make someone's day and just go, "That guy's so weird."
But we have the Cleveland Art Museum, which is next door to the Cleveland Museum of Natural History as well too. And that's all in our Case Western Reserve area as well too. Also, speaking of Case Western Reserve, I've actually had the opportunity to actually teach there as well too.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was a hip hop instructor for a program called COW. It's a Center of Inspiration Learning Arts, which they have in Case Western Reserve. And during the summertime, I was able to teach there. That was actually one of my highest paid teaching gigs I've ever had in my whole entire life.
Wow.
And it was actually a really, really great opportunity. The only thing that sucked about it is just to see how many kids I was able to teach that week, not dance anymore. It's like only 2 of them out of like the 15 students I had.
Oh, really?
Well, that's because when that program, you're able to take on 2 different things. So you can dance or you can do like fashion. So whatever you sign up for in the program, that's going to be your first one. And then they give you a second one just because. So if they technically sign up for like theater production and they're going to basically focus on theater production. And then if they do dance, that's just like a secondary thing to do because it might just be fun because it's there. So that's why majority of them didn't continue to dance.
Since this is, since it's the holidays, if somebody comes to the Christmas Story house and they want some other things to do when they travel to town, Holiday Circle Fest, have you ever been to that?
Yes. And Winterfest as well too.
All of the museums are free that day.
Yes, it is.
And it's like an amazing experience. And the best part is at the end of it, as long as you're not too cold, you can go and they have this lantern parade or something like that where
Chandelier parade and stuff.
Everybody's dressed up and glow, and they're all glowing and stuff like that. And it's costumes and very, very cool.
I've never actually ever had the chance to actually attend it.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually always working.
Right.
So I'm usually like passing it and go, oh, that looks fun. But other places to visit as well too. We have Little Italy, which is around University Circle as well too. And then also I highly recommend Public Square as a whole because of how beautiful it is now.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, it was not that attractive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually too, it almost looked like it was like one of the downtown New York's places. Like you didn't even want to walk down there without possibly getting harassed or anything like that by, somebody else. But now it's so comfortable. Like you can literally drive past it and want to park your car and just get out and just be there.
Yeah. And Public Square is highlighted in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it's also highlighted in Avengers.
Right.
Completely off of topic, but still I'm just saying it's there.
And while we're at it, if you look out the backyard, you can see St. Theodosius from here, which is where the movie Deer Hunter was filmed.
Mm-hmm. I like you guys. You guys should come here more often.
Well, we come with our research ready. We always got a little local base of knowledge that we know.
So then my question is, how much research did you do before you actually decided to come here?
I watched this movie twice in
your research?
In the last 48 hours.
My version of research was just watching kind of the big clips of the movie and then just looking at the website, looking at the gift shop, and then just kind of just doing research on the kind of the backstory of A Christmas Story, and then just kind of going from there. So I spent, I don't know, maybe good 3-4 hours on research.
But a lot of the stuff that we already know is from past episodes, like St. Theo. We know that because we covered it in a previous episode.
Right. Okay. And then, the stuff about Public Square, we've covered that on some basis, but very surface.
Well, you definitely see that a couple of times in the movie. You see soldiers and sailors, the monument there.
Mm-hmm.
During the parade and stuff like that.
Yeah, you do.
And they try to pass it off as a small town in Indiana, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hammond, Indiana.
Hammond.
Yeah. Hammond. Oh, that's right. It's Hammond?
Yeah, Hammond. Hammond.
And that's where the author's originally
That's where Gene
from.
Shepard is originally from, yes.
Right. So for those who don't know, that the Gene Shepard is the person who wrote some short stories that wound up becoming A Christmas Story.
Yes.
And I think the collection of the short stories was called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash.
Yes.
So then what are some of the stories that eventually were part of the of the Christmas Story?
So a couple of stories that was a part of the Christmas Story. One was his best friend sticking his tongue to a flagpole. That was one of his very most eye-grabbing stories in the whole entire book, and on the radio as well too. That was where Bob Clark actually found Gene Shepard, because he chimed in on the radio and heard Gene Shepard telling these stories, and he chimed in on the story where he's talking about his best friend sticking his tongue to a flagpole, and that's when Bob Clark was like, I need to make this a movie.
The DVD that I purchased of the movie has special features on it where you can actually listen to some of those radio programs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't make it through it just because I ran out of time.
Oh, yeah.
If I would have realized they were there, I would have looked at it earlier. Yeah. But they're kind of interesting to listen to. You can actually listen to those original stories.
Right. I want to do that afterwards. But then what's some of the other stories that are in the movie?
Another story is about the bullies, Scott Farkas and Grover Dill. Those are one of his many stories as well too. And then also in the story that never actually makes it to the Christmas Story movie, but it has a lot to do with Scott Farkas. It's a spin top story where he get into this big like spin top battle with the biggest bully and the best spin topper in the whole entire neighborhood. And Scott Farkas actually loses to a girl. So that's like another one of those stories as well too.
Wow.
And if you're not familiar with this story, not only can you find it in that book, In God We Trust, Others Pay Cash, but you can also find it in Playboy magazine as well too.
Yeah, right. So by the way, these were published in Playboy. So talking about kids, the story of growing up in a magazine that is about, for keeping us PG, the graphic depiction of the female body unclothed isn't very. I think it's a lot of irony in there.
But I think when you watch the movie, it's kind of for kids, but it's kind of for adults too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely for adults on so many different levels. The kids just being kids and not realizing so much stuff. That's why, they still make it for kids. Like, there's a lot of things out here, like some of the old Disney movies and stuff like that was never meant for kids, but kids fall in love with it more than the adults do. So and you don't realize the majority of that stuff until you get older. And, after that wide range of education you get throughout, like common knowledge and then school knowledge as well, too. And you go back and watch these movies and go, holy crap. That's what they were talking about the whole time.
Right.
I wanted to read this quote that I found on Reddit when I was doing research and Googling earlier. It's by Luke and then followed by a bunch of numbers. If you're familiar with Reddit, it's just a bunch of anonymous names.
Okay. But
this one person says, A Christmas Story is so wonderfully written. It's set in the 40s, came out in 1983, and is completely relevant for kids and adults even today. Which I thought that was a pretty good description of how amazing the writing was for this movie.
Well, actually, I have another fun fact about the movie and the writing as well, too. So before they actually was able to film in the department store, which way they originally came here for,
right?
The manager of the department store actually read the script. And he wasn't a fan of the script because the fact that the kids had more profanity words than the adults in the movie. He didn't like that. And he didn't want any profanity in the movie at all because his department store was going to be affiliated in the movie. And he didn't want that to be detrimental to his future business. Yeah. So that's when he talked to Bob Clark about changing the script in order for them to film in the department store, and they did. So that's why they were only able to get to.
How did they change it?
They took out all the curse words that all the kids actually had. So in the original script, the boys, they were cursing a lot.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like, more than usual. So he took all those out and he replaced them with other like little fun stuff, like all baloney. Like,
yeah.
But in reality, it's something else. Related to the excrement of a bull.
And if they hadn't done that, it probably wouldn't be the classic that it is today.
For some people, it probably would, but not for America.
Right. You're just kind of going, all of a sudden you go, it's a cult classic instead of a regular classic.
That's funny.
It's like Fight Club.
I love Fight Club.
I mean, Fight Club is great, but but it would be kind of in that same sense. Like, you can't believe these kids they're so real.
How dare these kids speak like that? And then I will go, you never been in Cleveland, Ohio, have you?
Oh yeah. Them kids don't play around. I see these little kids. I mean, some of those kids look like full grown adults. And I'm going, how old are you? 11. And I go, you look bigger than Nate. Like, goodness gracious. But then, I guess like going into also some other stuff about it, you brought up something kind of interesting talking about, the department store.
Yes.
I think it's called Higbee's, correct?
That is correct.
Oh, it's no longer.
No. So it was the Higbee's department building, and then it got transferred into Dillard's. And then from there, it switched to Horseshoe Casino. And then from there, Dan Gilbert bought it and then made it Jack's Casino.
Right. So for those who don't know, basically, if you go to Jack's Casino, this is where the movie is. So it's very ironic. You go, you have to think about this really good kids movie, and now it's a center for gambling and gambling addicts. You just kind of go, hit me. It's like sevens, yes. And I go, that's their version of the red action little rifle there. That's their version of it. And instead of saying you shoot your eye out, you're gonna go, you'll run out of money.
And then you'll be walking out there talking about some fudge.
Right. Oh, baloney. I lost 2,000. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I've tried to get into Jack's Casino when I was underage. I wanted to just walk through and see it, and they go, "Oh no, we can't let you go through." But in Vegas, they allowed me to go at 12. They go, "Oh yeah, sure, go ahead, go around."
Go ahead. We don't see anything. You got money, right? Oh, then here, come on in.
Oh yeah, well, my family's there, and they're like, "Okay, here's a quarter. Go play the slots." And I won like $50. And they go, "Do it again." And then I lost it. And it's like, the secrets of gambling. And for little kids, let them go because they're lucky. But then you play them too long, and then all of a sudden you go, either they're going to say, get out, or you run out of money.
Yeah. Another fun fact about the Higbee department building. So I've actually had a chance to DJ in that building before.
Oh, yeah?
So there's another building on top. It's called the Silver Grill, which is like a restaurant and almost like an event planning spot as well, too. It's not that anymore. But it was one time I had a DJ there because I was working for Rock the House at the time.
Right.
I was DJing there, and we got done setting up, and we had like an hour of free time to do anything we wanted. So I drifted off. I'm a drifter sometimes. So I drifted off, and I walked into this other room, which looked like it used to be a movie theater. And I looked it up, and there was a movie theater in the Higbee department building. It was a little small, privately movie theater. Wow. But I walked in, and it looked like it was an old movie theater. And then I also was able to come across some of the old original Higbee letters as well, too. Oh,
wow. Okay.
That you see in the movie. And I didn't know what the Higbee was or how important it was until I started working here.
Right.
So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, look, these old letters. All right, cool. But I really like this space. I want to dance here. And as I set up my camera to start dancing, the security guard come out of nowhere. Hey, you're not supposed to be back here. I'm like, oh, I lost my phone. I must have just found it here.
Oh, right. Oh, baloney. My phone is gone.
So then that's when I left out. And I've actually tried to go back in that space again.
Right.
But it's completely blocked off now.
Oh, yeah. They go, we can't have Ernie go back in there. But it's like, wait. I thought it was Chris Tucker. No, that's Ernie.
That's Ernie. That's
right.
Ernie.
And then someone goes, "Where's Bert?"
we had an agreement before we started this.
Oh no!
We had an agreement. I'm pleading the fifth on all the rest of your questions. But
I have one very low blow.
Another thing is, if you do end up coming here to visit and you want to still go to the Jack's Casino, you will still have the opportunity to see a plaque on the Jack's Casino that emphasizes the Higbee Company. Mm-hmm. And then also around this time, around Christmas time, if you go down there, in one of their windows, they have the full display like they did in the movie as well too. So you'll relive that moment if you come down here.
How do they run into Higbee's and they go, "Oh yeah, this is the place to record"?
Interesting fact. I'm happy you asked that question. A department store was a very important thing that they wanted in the movie.
Right.
Because they needed the space as well too. And they needed a building that was willing to stay open after hours. And that was willing to keep their Christmas decorations up all the way up till the end of March. And there was only one department store in the whole entire United States of America that was willing to do that. And it was located right here in Cleveland, Ohio. It was called the Higbee's Department Building. So that's what drawn them to Cleveland, Ohio, was the fact that they had that department building that was willing to do those things for them as well too. And when they finally seen it, they seen how big it was, and they're like, "This is the perfect place to put a 30-foot Santa Claus slide inside of it."
Yeah, right. It's like, hold on, we're gonna put a slide in there. What? Don't worry, we're not gonna cause any damage. Oh, fudge! We cracked the floor,
and it just shoots up 30 feet into your department store. And then also the way Public Square was, they really liked it the way it looked as well too, because it, like I said, in the early 80s. Cleveland, Ohio still looked like it belonged in the 40s or the 30s. So that's when they was like, yo, this city is like exactly what we need for the movie.
Right. Well, we also can thank Mayor Frank Jackson for bringing us into the 90s. So shout out to the mayor.
What a great job he's done.
And this was a neighborhood, the real estate value was low.
Yeah.
It was a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Well, I mean, every city's got its realm of danger. I'm more afraid of Aurora, Colorado than here.
Well, I'm more afraid of Loveland when it comes to Colorado. The reason is it's right next to the mountains. Mm-hmm. And I was there actually doing my breakdancing thing.
Yeah.
And I saw a sign that says Mountain Lion Crossing.
Wow.
Oh, that might be a good reason to not like it.
I've been in Cleveland my whole entire life. I've never seen this sign ever before in my life. And just to see it in person and be standing right in front of it, I'm like, we need to go back.
I'm not getting eaten by no lion. It's like, I will gladly have anything else happen, but a mountain lion, no.
Not happening. I mean, I can't be that runner who wrestled the mountain lion and survived and is able to tell the story. Did you hear about that?
Oh, no. Didn't he kill the lion?
Yeah, he killed the lion with his bare hands.
Wow.
He was running. He was running on a wooden trail, and then he just happened to feel something behind him. He'd look. There's a mountain lion charging at him.
Yeah.
And it lunges and it grasps onto him. And he literally fought with the mountain lion for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And was able to walk out of that alive with the mountain lion as a prop. Like,
I'm sure he had some scratches on him.
Oh yeah. He got messed up.
They the medical report said that he did have some scratches and a couple of bite marks, but it wasn't a big amount of damage though.
Interesting.
Because he was able to kill the mountain lion with his bare hands.
Wow.
And then they showed the picture of him, and I'm like, he had help. There is no way.
He wasn't a big burly dude, huh?
Spider-Man must have came out of somewhere, helped him, and then you only get one, and then disappeared.
Oh, we actually know though. It was the air rifle. That's what took down the lion.
He definitely had the Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah, right there. But actually, speaking of dangerous things, let's talk about that rifle.
So the Red Ryder BB gun, the reason why it's so important is because it's one of Gene Shepard's stories as well too. As a child for Christmas, he got a Red Ryder BB gun. To be more specific, he got a 1938 model of a Red Ryder BB gun. Now, in his stories, he do say that it had a compass in the stock, and he can't remember if it had the thing that tell time, but he knew that it had one or the other or both. So then that's when Bob Clark decided to make this gun that he had in the story come to life in real life. And instead for having one or the other, he actually added 3 attachments to the gun. And those 3 attachments are a compass in the stock of the gun. Next to the compass, you will find a sundial engraved in the stock of the gun. So that's the thing that tells time. And then there's a tassel on the left side of the gun. Now, the tassel being the most important attachment of the gun because the tassel emphasizes that the gun was specifically made for a left-hander. Now, this is the most important thing because out of millions and millions of Red Ryder BB guns, there was only 6 made for the movie. These 6 were the only guns ever created for a left-hander and with 3 attachments in one gun.
Oh, huh.
So the gun that he emphasized in one of his stories, Bob Clark redid it and brought it to life for the movie. And that's why it's one of the most important things because it was in his story, he emphasized how badly he wanted the Red Ryder BB gun. And he finally got the BB gun for Christmas one time. And he did everything his mom told him not to do with the Red Ryder BB gun, as in shooting your eye out.
Well, he shot the glass and, it just was a mess. However,
So was The Christmas Story a true story or based on a true story?
So The Christmas Story is based off of the mini stories of Gene Shepard in the book In God We Trust, Others Pay Cash, which is based off of his own childhood memories that he went through as a child. So kind of. So it's based off a true story, and then, it has its twists and turns to make it into, this mini stories, and then it has a little bit more twists and turns to make it into a movie.
Yeah.
But originally the origins of the whole entire book and the movie is based off of his own personal experience as a child.
It's a mixture of probably fiction and reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of fiction though, the snow in the movie?
Oh.
Yeah. Not quite so real.
I love the snow in the movie. Well, it depends on which part of the movie you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, certain parts are very true.
Certain parts of it. So to help you understand more of a percentage about the movie, so only a low percentage of the movie was able to be filmed inside the house. Some of the scenes, that's including some of the inside and the outside scenes. Another dosage of percentage was filmed here in Cleveland, Ohio. I want to say around at least about 49 to 47%. And then some of it, the majority of the movie was filmed in Toronto, Canada. Now, the reason you bring up the snow is really, really important because that was one of the reasons why they went to Toronto, Canada, is because they had snow. They was filming here in Cleveland, Ohio for about 11 weeks. And Cuyahoga River did what it does best for us Ohioans, and it failed us.
Yeah, right.
And it's known for two things, either catching on fire or freezing over. And for those 11 weeks, Cuyahoga River froze over. Wow. What a coincidence when they need to film a Christmas movie here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Absolutely.
So there was barely any lake effect. So the snow that did fall here was very scarce, and it barely snowed. I want to say it snowed at least like 4 days out of the 11 weeks that they filmed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was light snow, so it didn't stick at all. So that's when they were so determined to make snow here in Cleveland, Ohio, and then still film here in Cleveland, Ohio, that they used 3 ingredients to make fake snow. They used firefighter foam, they used soap bubbles, and they also used instant mashed potato flakes.
Oh, I did not know that. Instant potato... Wait, really? Instant potato. Wow. So in that case, kids, do eat your potatoes. Or in this case, don't eat them because it could be used for a movie.
Could you imagine going to the grocery store? I'll take all your instant mashed potatoes.
Well, sir, that's like $30,000. Are you sure? Oh yeah, trust me. I'm running a movie. It's like I directed Porky, darn it. Right? You know, for those who don't know, Bob Clark was famous. His first famous movie was Porky.
Porky's.
Porky's, sorry.
Yeah.
But then actually that leads into the next thing. So then obviously Porky's kind of gives him the clout or his ability to then go up to Gene Shepard and go, let's make this movie. So then how do they exactly meet? Because obviously he's inspired by the stories in the car, but then how do they exactly come together?
So he reaches out to Gene Shepard about wanting to film a movie, and they end up linking together and then, getting everything together and rough drafting their blueprints and everything. Their main thing was about the budget for the movie. Now, Bob Clark being a B-rated horror film director, because, not only did he do Porky's, but he also did Black Christmas and also Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things as well, too.
Right.
And MGM loved what he did with Porky's. They wanted him to do a Porky's too. But Bob Clark wanted to do a movie with Gene Shepard that he was already talking to Gene Shepard about.
Right.
So that's when he went up to MGM and said, I'll make you a deal. You fund me for this Christmas movie I want to do, and I'll do a Porky's too.
Right.
So then that's when they was like, all right, sure, we can do that. They gave Bob Clark a budget of $2.5 million to do for a Christmas Story movie, which is a low budget.
Right. That's quite low.
Yeah. And Bob Clark needed just a little bit more, so some of the money he made from Porky's, he also put into the pot as well too, almost up to $150,000 as well too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he put some of his own money into this budget to start filming right here for the Christmas Story movie, making it almost about $3.1 million of a budget as well too, which still is not a lot.
Right. Yeah, right. That's really small. I think even when Rocky ran on a budget even bigger than that, and they were broke.
Yeah, yo, trust me. And another fun fact, I also found out the lowest budget movie was Paranormal Activity. It was I want to say $15,000 budget.
$15,000.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's like one of the lowest successful ones ever.
Yeah, and the gross pay it made off of it literally quadrupled more than you could ever think.
Yeah.
I looked at that just recently because one of the guests came here and was like, so what's the lowest budget movie that you know about? I was like, well, this is a Christmas Story House Museum tour.
Right.
So I know about that.
Yeah, right. But then you look up, you're like, wait, Paranormal Activity, 15,000, but makes, didn't it make like tens of millions of dollars?
Yeah.
You're just like, now that's a return on investment.
Same with Blair Witch Project, which was about about almost $175,000 budget.
Wow, that's pretty darn good. Those poor actors are going to go, I got paid nothing.
Especially if they listen to this podcast, like, wait a minute, that movie made how much?
Yeah, right. It's like, I didn't know they made that much. They always told me it was a flop. Oh, Indeed. So then, of course, we have this small budget.
Yes. So they had this small budget, and that's when they started getting their actors and everything that they needed for it. Their biggest bump in their budget was Darren McGavin, who actually plays the father of the movie.
Right.
He actually wanted almost majority of that budget, almost up to about 1.8 million to $2 million.
Was he a well-known actor at the time?
Yes, he was a well-known actor. He's actually the most known actor as well too, because of his star role in Night Stalker.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he also played a couple father figures as well too. He wanted the most, but I feel like them getting Darren McGavin was a better choice than who they originally wanted to pick as the father of this movie.
Which is Jack Nicholson.
That is correct, Jack Nicholson.
Yes, the Super Lakers fan, the guy who goes, "Here's Johnny," the guy who does Born to Be Wild, the guy who is known for The One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, would have been the father. Can you imagine and go, "You'll shoot your eye out."
Mr. Sunglasses.
Oh yeah. "You'll shoot your eye out, kid."
And that was right after The Shining, right?
Yes, so
Yeah.
that would have been 3 years after The Shining, which isn't enough time to get your mental health back together for
After
a
that
Christmas
role,
movie.
you're right. He just goes, "Here's Johnny." No, wrong line. Oh, sorry. Here's Daddy.
Here's Daddy. I don't know what kind of movie you think this is.
I know.
I mean, I know his stuff was in Playboy magazine, but
It would be just interesting. So, but then why did it not work for?
well, one, he wanted all of the budget and a little bit more as well too.
Right,
Because
he's like,
he had just became an A-list actor.
right.
Because of The Shining. So that's when he wanted what he thought he was worth, which
Right.
makes sense. And then Bob Clark actually wanted to cast him because of the fact that he was such a fan of horror movies and he really loved The Shining as well too.
Right.
And he's like, I want to get Jack Nicholson in here as the father. And I feel like he would do a good job. But then that's when Gene Shepard goes, we want this to be a Christmas story, not a dark Christmas story. So that's when they decided not to go with Jack Nicholson because of those reasons. One, because his mental, they didn't think his mental would be all the way together back
Right.
for the movie.
Right.
And then his budget request as well too, which was extremely high.
Right, exactly. But I guess that's what you get when the guy's worth, Jack Nicholson's worth tens of millions of dollars now. So I think he goes, yeah, it was good. Didn't take the $3 million.
Something a little bit similar. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. That song.
Yeah.
Originally was super dark. And then Judy Garland refused to sing it as it was. And then later on when Frank Sinatra sang it, he refused to do the improved version that Judy Garland did. So if you go back and you look at the original lyrics of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, it's pretty awful.
I'm going to definitely have to do that because that's interesting because that's just like that baby is cold outside epidemic that happened last year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that took that long to
I know.
to happen.
I remember as a kid, I'm like, this is really disturbing. It's like, baby, it's cold outside. I'm feeling dizzy. Baby, it's cold outside.
That was Bill Cosby singing.
Woo, now it's a little bit spicy, isn't it?
It's cold outside here. Have this martini.
No, baby.
What's in this drink?
Baby, you know it's cold outside. Let me tell you about this crazy thing. It's cold outside.
That song was extremely interesting. I remember working at Target. So I used to be a box rapper at Target a couple years back and hearing that song and it was a slow day. And I'm just like, wow, this song is it's pretty creepy. Like this guy is coming off extremely aggressive. Like she's like, I need to get home. He's like, it's cold out there. You know,
You're going to freeze to death if you leave.
Like she's like, my brother's worried. Don't worry, he'll be okay.
Yeah, so it's just so odd, but I guess it's a good thing that we've moved on from that song. But it's good to teach the kids like, hey, it's good to not be a creep when it's cold outside and you go, you should just stay in,
Oh yeah.
But kind of going back to the Christmas story a little bit. One of the things that I thought was kind of interesting was, speaking of, I guess you could say, forced or voluntary overnight stays.
Okay.
I know.
I like that. That was a good transition.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was good. That was too. I'm going to have to take that. Well, I don't know how I would take that, but eventually I'll get into the situation to where I'll have to take that.
I've spoken professionally, so I kind of know, like, okay, transition. Like I could, I've transitioned from ridiculous stuff more ridiculous than this. So
that means you don't have any tickets.
Oh yeah. Yes, I don't. But obviously, I think it's just this house where you can do an overnight stay, correct?
That's incorrect.
Oh,
Actually,
I'm sorry.
It's this house and the actual Christmas Story house.
Oh, okay.
So this is our new Christmas Story Airbnb, just without the last B, which is weird. But so downstairs you can fit 4 people down, and upstairs you can fit 6 people. And if you want to, you can get the up and downstairs and get 10 people in there. And, have a big crazy party. And, of course, invite me because I like to have big crazy parties. I'm from Cleveland. I mean, who party harder than a Browns fan?
Well, when they're 0-16, yeah.
We were going to throw a parade for them for having a worse streak last time.
Yeah, right, exactly. But hey, I do feel bad. Even as a fan of the original Browns, I do feel bad that they've been struggling. But
he's talking about Baltimore. All right, so back to Christmas Story house.
I went to that 0-16 parade. It was so cold.
Oh, so you're part of it too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I plead the fifth. Next question. But you can actually stay in the Christmas Story house as well too. So if you tour the Christmas Story house, you will realize there's a door next to the bathroom. Now that door is locked because that door leads to our overnight stay loft. That overnight stay loft, it originally fits 4 people. During tour hours, you would stay on that 3rd floor. After tour hours, you get the whole entire house for the night. We can relive as many Christmas Story memories and miracles as much as you want. But now, once you get the whole entire house, you can add 2 more people. So you can get 6 people in there because 2 people can actually sleep in the boys' bed and Randy and Ralphie's bed.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I guess you have to really have kids go in there because, you expect an adult to sleep in those beds.
I mean, it is a pretty twin sizable bed, but it's really comfortable. I'm pretty sure you'll be okay with your limbs just hanging off the side and just sleeping there.
Well, I'm a mud monster, so the limbs don't work. The bed just gets
don't work.
Oh no, it's just mud all over the bed and going. What is that? Well, it's chocolate covered bed.
It better be mud all over that bed if that's what that is. We're going to have some problems. I'm going to charge your car for a lot of things.
Right. Exactly.
So you were saying earlier that a lot of the movie was filmed in other places. And I think if I remember right, I actually went on the tour last year and they were saying that part of the reason why it was filmed in other places is because the house is actually pretty small.
Yes. So one of the interesting things about the story about them getting the house, when they met the owner at the Raleigh Inn, they asked to, use his house for 11 weeks to possibly film a Christmas movie. Of course, as anybody say, any 2 random people come up to you and ask to rent out your house, you're going to say no at first. So the owner, which his name was Joe, so Joe did say no. And then, Bob Clark and Gene Shepard, they did the most executive thing you could do. They ordered him a couple shots.
And he goes, that's a good idea.
They ordered him a couple shots and then they slipped him a check for $20,000 as well too.
Oh,
and they ended up getting the keys to the guy's house. Now, they got the keys to the guy's house, but not ever walking into his house.
Oh, wow.
So once they walked into his house, that's when they realized the house was way too small for them to fit everything into one scene.
Right.
So that's why they had to take majority of the movie to Toronto, Canada on a soundstage where they replicated the house as much as they could so they can make the scenes seem a little bit bigger as well too.
And it's really hard to tell watching the movie which one's which.
Well, yes, until I tell you what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
So the way you can tell which scenes were actually filmed here inside the house and then which was filmed in Toronto, Canada. Next time you're watching the movie and they're inside of the house and you can see through any of the windows from the outside or the inside, like as clear as day, then that means that scene was filmed inside the house or right here on the street. Also, if you see a wooden fence, then that scene was filmed right here as well too. A couple of major scenes that were filmed inside of that house when the old man gets that fragile crate delivered to his house.
Oh yeah.
That happens in the house. When the Bumpus House take the turkey off the kitchen table and they go out the back door, that happened in the house as well too. For some people, before I tell you more, there's a little documentary called Road Trip for Ralphie.
Okay.
The guy, he mentions that some of the scenes were filmed on the soundstage and some were filmed in the house. He mentions that the leg lamp delivery scene was filmed on the soundstage. That's not correct. That was filmed actually inside the actual Christmas Story house.
Wow.
So yeah, that DVD, I'm just have to go ahead and edit some of that as well.
Right. Caesar, You can do that.
You got me, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me see. When Ralphie gets soap poisoning, that happens in the house. When he shoot his eye out, that happens in the backyard of the house. When he protects his family from the Black Bart gang, that was filmed there as well too. He's in the kitchen, hanging out that window, shooting at the Black Bart gang, which is in the backyard as well too.
Right.
When Ralphie looks out the side of the window and the old man pulls up before the dogs start attacking him, that was filmed upstairs in that house as well too.
Right.
And then when he wakes up Christmas morning and he looks in his backyard to see all that beautiful snow in the backyard, that was filmed out in the house as well too. Nice fun fact about that scene: all that snow is fake snow.
Oh wow!
It's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of mashed potatoes.
This whole street, which in real life is called West 11th, right?
Yes.
In some of those scenes, it's covered with snow, artificial snow.
This whole entire block was covered with fake snow. Majority firefighter foam and soap suds, and then the scenes that did have the mashed potatoes, or any scenes where you see falling snow, that's mashed potatoes. So,
interesting.
So don't you know, at the end of the movie, when the old man and his wife are sitting in a chair and they're looking out the window, and you just see that snow just gracefully falling. You know, that essence of a beautiful ending for a story.
Instant mashed potato.
That's somebody standing on top of the roof shaking a bag of mashed potato flakes over the window.
You're going, oh man, I really just need a potato pie right now. I just really do. And someone's just said that. But speaking of food, there's a particular scene that I think really drew my attention. The Chinese restaurant scene.
That's an interesting scene. I love that scene.
So obviously, this is a scene that is rather funny, but it's kind of controversial though, because it does the stereotype of the mispronunciation of the L into the R.
Yeah.
For Asian immigrants, and so I'm curious: do you get people who just say it's funny, or do you have people who go, man, that's a messed up scene, man?
I've never had anybody tell me that scene was disappointing to them. So no. But I always try to tell people about that scene, for them to enjoy it and appreciate the scene a little bit more. Like for one, I always ask them, like, all right, out of your 4 cast members, you have Randy, Ralphie, the old man, and Mom. Out of those 4, one of them originally did not have a script for this scene. Who do you think that person was? And instantly, as people are like listening to me, they're literally playing the scene back in their head, and they're like, it got to be the mom.
No, it wasn't the mom, was it?
Actually, it was the mom.
It was the mom. Okay.
Yeah. So Melinda Dillon didn't originally get a script for this scene. The reason is Bob Clark wanted some raw emotions, and Bob Clark liked to have fun.
Right.
And he figured this was going to be a very funny part. So he gave Ralphie, Randy, and Darren McGavin a script for the scene, but he also informed them that Melinda Dillon did not have a script for the scene. So if you go back and watch the movie, all of her actions and her emotions and all that stuff, you can actually see those are actually raw emotions. Like that's her actually being scared when they chop the duck head off.
Yeah, right.
That's her laughing as hard as possible because these people are singing fa la 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 all wrong. And then also,
and it was real, like because her emotion, her reaction was real.
Yes, like her covering her face turning red, trying not to break character. That was all real emotions. Like there was nothing scripted about that at all.
Right.
Also, if you pay attention to Darren McGavin and the boys throughout that whole entire scene, you will see them like looking at her before the next thing happened because they're trying to figure out how she's going to react to when it happens.
Yeah, right. They're just like, I wonder what happens now. Oh, Doc. Cute. But wasn't also that there was someone else who also was apparently breaking character, the restaurant owner.
Yeah, he broke character like once. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, because he tried, because everybody knew that she didn't have a script. So
right.
they were all just sitting there like trying their hardest not to break character because they knew how surprised she was going to be. And the best part is when the duck come out and they chop his head off in front of her and she screeches. That's like a real authentic screech.
Right.
Like she didn't think she was going to be walking onto a set to watch a duck get decapitated.
Right.
What about the name of the restaurant?
So Bowling Chop Suey Palace. Now that's interesting. So that was just a name that they came up with. Just for kicks and giggles.
Right.
But the restaurant in general, you will find the building, but you won't find the restaurant. So originally it was a vacant spot.
Didn't it say bowling? And then they just removed the W?
Yeah.
So bowling.
Yeah, that was the kicks and giggles.
which is interesting because there's a restaurant here in town called Bolong. So it's not really that much different
Yeah, right.
from an actual restaurant name.
Are they decapitating ducks?
Maybe. Well, you have two choices at that restaurant. You can get like the really authentic Chinese food, or you can get the Americanized stuff. Which
I'm
is
gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Have you ever been to the Asian markets? You can get those birds with the
I've been there.
Yeah.
And where would the Asian market be, Caesar?
Asia Town.
Wow. Maybe a street would be nice.
I don't know without looking, but one of them's off of Superior under the train bridge. So that must be what? Like 50?
By
Isn't it like East 30th?
it's East 30th, but there's a place.
It's like it's pretty much like, if you go past East 30th and it's like to East 20.
Well, that one's off of Payne.
Fifth.
That's
Is it Bodega? I think it's by Bodega.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's right off of East 30th. Yeah, it's right off after East 30th. It'll be on your right. That's coming up Superior.
That's one of a few, and there's another one that I really like closer to the train tracks in Superior, and that's the one with all like the weird animals with the head still.
Yeah, there's actually a dance studio over there called Viva La Dance Studio.
In that same building.
Yeah, in that same building.
That's all pretty interesting. So then, obviously, we have the Chinese the restaurant scene, and then we obviously have another scene that kind of just popped into my mind, which was kind of unusual circumstances, which was the parade scene.
Okay, yeah, and then also to touch back down on the Chinese restaurant scene. If you do want to visit that place, you can. Only thing is, you won't find it being bowling chop suey. And then also for everybody else who's been listening to the rumors, it was never a bowling alley before it was a Chinese restaurant. So people look at that and say the W's burnt out, so it had to have been the bowling alley. That's why they rented it out. I'm like, no, it just never was a bowling alley.
That's not true.
Not true at all.
I think I heard that last year on the tour that I did.
Yeah, see?
So I got some bad information on the tour, I guess.
It's okay. They're all fired anyway. Anyways, but actually, if you go look for it, that building, you will find it, but it's now known as the best Italian restaurant in Chinatown in Toronto, Canada.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow. So best Italian restaurant in Chinatown in Canada.
Toronto. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that I wonder if maybe Drake went there and just went, "Oh, this is so good."
Just went there singing with his arm up, just waving it by his face.
He's going, "I saw this in Christmas Story."
So another thing about the parade, it was actually really convenient for him because it was after hours and it was still so many people still around downtown. Like, I've actually toured one of the people who actually used to work there around when they were filming the movie. Right. And she wasn't happy because she actually had to work later those days that they were filming it for the parade. For them to actually do the scene. It was filmed way after hours. Like, I think it closed at 9 and they were filming from like 10 to like almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez.
And you wouldn't even know by the way you watch the movie. You think it's like, all right, it's like 7 or 8 o'clock in Cleveland, Ohio around Christmas time. Right. No, this is like later on during the night when you're usually asleep.
Right.
And kids are tucked in, not getting kicked down a Santa Claus slide.
Yeah, right. It's like, because, there ain't no party unless there's kids being thrown down a slide at 2 o'clock in the morning.
So that's another little fun fact about the parade as well, too. And then also, I do get people who ask, like, how come the Wizard of Oz is in that parade? Well, to answer that, the Wizard of Oz had just came out a couple years before that. Before right before the time of reference of the movie. Right. They don't ever give a hard time in the movie. Right. But we know it's a little bit after World War II. Right. So, and then Wizard of Oz came out a little bit before World War II, like pre-World War II. So that's why you see the characters in the movie. So I do get that a lot as well too.
So it was also because they were allowed to use it because it was an MGM film. So they're just like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Because they work for us. Put them in there.
Yeah, put them in there, whatever. But it was interesting too because the Disney characters. Yeah. How do they get away with that?
Well, that's why you catch them beating up Mickey Mouse in the parade. You catch the Wizard of Oz beating up Mickey Mouse in the parade because he originally wasn't supposed to be there. Right. So that's just like another thing that Bob Clark put in there for like the kicks and giggles as well too. Right. And just also a shot as well too.
From the research I did from a video that talked about behind the scenes of A Christmas Story, they said that Disney apparently loved that scene. And I go, what type of executive goes, I like it when our main brand image gets beaten up to a bloody pulp in the middle of a kid's movie. But it's just kind of fascinating just to see that. Like, that's why that scene fascinated me so much, because A, it was filmed after hours, and B, Mickey got beaten up. I actually like Mickey, but it was just so odd.
It's also funny and interesting as well too. But the reason why it's more interesting than it is funny is because a lot of Disney things are darker than what people think.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
That's why they were okay with Mickey Mouse getting beat up, because there's a big dark side to Disney. Just a lot of people don't really notice that.
Oh yeah, Disney's got some crazy ideas, man. they let to throw those little dark references in there.
Ernie, how many times have you watched A Christmas Story?
So this is going to be a big mouth opener for a couple people. That's people who's listening. So before I actually got hired here, I've never seen the movie.
Wow.
It never was played in my house. My mom wasn't a big fan. Actually, me and my brothers and sisters, we weren't big fans of each other. So we could never sit down as a family and do anything. Yeah. So whenever she goes, oh, we're going to watch this family movie, we all just pick a fight with each other so we don't have to be next to each other, so we all can go into our rooms.
Right.
It didn't make it no better when 5 of us shared one room. So
yeah, right.
We're all in our own corner with our arms crossed, just staring at each other. But ever since I started working here, I watched the movie a couple times, but then earlier this year in February, I tore my patella tendon completely in half.
Oof.
So I was completely in a wheelchair for about a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And I still worked, but I only had to work behind the gift shop, behind the register in the gift shop. So the movie plays 24 hours all day. And that's all I had to watch. So within that whole month of me being in a wheelchair, I watched this movie at least about 780,000 times.
Oh, wow. And Caesar was talking about how he's getting tired of this movie after 48 hours. I can't imagine a month straight.
But then it wasn't very popular at first when it first came out, was it?
No. So actually the movie was in theaters for 30 days. It was released in November of 1983. It was in theaters for 30 days before they pulled it back out because it flopped so bad. And the reason it flopped so bad is because newspaper critics ripped this movie apart. They called it as real as fake fruit. This is like the candy corn of movies. And around that time, reading the newspaper was extremely important.
Yeah.
For you to stay up to date. Now you got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and all that stuff. So everybody who read the newspaper was like, I'm not going to see this movie. So they had a very low percentage in all their movie theaters.
Yeah.
And that's when they realized it was a flop. So they pulled it back out. And then MGM actually sold the rights to Warner Brothers, who actually then put it on TBS for a 24-hour marathon in replacing of It's a Wonderful Life. And then that's when people started chiming into it and watching it and becoming a cult classic, which took almost 10 years after the movie was released.
Right.
That's pretty interesting. So then it's a late bloomer practically.
Yes. Just like It's a Wonderful Life.
Right. Oh, it seems like a lot of these Christmas stories, everyone goes, oh, this is so tacky. And you go, but the kids are going to love it. And all of a sudden everyone goes, it's so tacky, but it's so cool.
I was trying to do the math earlier today. I would say that the kids are probably around 50 now.
Randy would be almost 40 something.
Okay.
And Ralphie would be, 50.
Wow.
That's crazy.
There was that much of a difference, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, when Ralphie, he was like 13 when he played that role.
Yes.
He's like, here's a 13-year-old playing as a 9-year-old. I remember the difference between 9-year-old me and 13-year-old me. 13-year-old me was almost 6 feet tall, and 9-year-old me was under 4'5".
Sounds about right.
Right. So here you go. You have Ralph. So how on earth did they pull off? Is Ralphie just that small?
Yes. He actually is. Peter Bensley is actually that short. Like,
what's his height?
I don't know in particular, but I do know I did see him in person one time.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, this guy is really short. I would have never thought that. And like they say, the camera makes you look big.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, that's interesting though that, he really could pull that off, because I'm thinking about this on a tangent here. The one of my favorite movie sets, The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
With Peter Jackson. The Gimli, the dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
His actual height is 6'1".
What?
Yeah. So the actor, who's a very famous Welsh actor, I think his name's like Rhys Davies or something like that. And this guy is like a 6'2" giant, or 6'1" guy. And he's like, you're going to play a dwarf, and you're just kind of going, ah. And so, they had to literally like kind of angle the camera in order to like cut off half his size. And so, also,
how do you hide that body type though? Like,
I don't know, but they did it. But I think like at one point that like sometimes I don't know the full story, but I think like they did stuff with like positioning and lighting and and plus at that point you had enough abilities with the computer that you could cut someone down to size. I mean, heck, if you could put Jerry Springer in a B character in the B movie, then you can make a 6'2" guy look like he's 4'1".
You have the power to do anything.
Absolutely. So then I guess the kind of like reaching towards a conclusion here.
Real quick, let's talk about the complex here.
Yeah.
What are some things that if people come to Cleveland and visit the Christmas Story House, what are some of the things that you can do here on the complex?
Well, other than the Christmas Story House, you can also walk around the neighborhood and visit different restaurants and stuff like that around here as well too. That some of the restaurants do signify and compliment Christmas Story House, so you will find like a leg lamp in their window as well too.
Yeah.
We have a bar around the corner called Clark. They have a leg lamp in their window, and then they also do like some of their foods are like based off a Christmas story.
Right.
The same way here with Raleigh Inn. And then
there's 4 buildings here actually on the campus of a Christmas Story House.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah. So we have the Christmas Story House.
Yeah.
We have the museum.
Yeah.
We have the Bumpus House.
Right.
And then we also have the gift shop, which is, our prized possession. Other than, it being a Christmas Story House.
Yeah, right.
But, we make majority of our money off of gifts inside the gift shop as well, too.
How much money does it take to stay in the Bumpus House or in the actual
in the Christmas Story House, it does start at $395 a night.
Okay, well, that's not horrific, but that's not exactly cheap.
No. And that depends on like a certain time of the year. It fluctuates, depends on like, the time of the year. Around Christmas time, like say if you want to get it for like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, just to have that Christmas story experience, you'll be spending almost up to like $5,000 to stay here for one night for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Wow. You have to be a real fan.
Well, the interesting fact is booked for like the next 6 Christmases.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Trust me, we're not complaining at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're going 5,000. I can't believe people go $5,000 deal, but people are crazy when it comes to getting that authentic experience, I suppose.
I came here last year, right around the holidays, and it was very busy. I kind of would suggest like maybe coming at an off time because you have more time to look around. I'm a little bit of a claustrophobic person.
Okay.
So you know how small that house is. There were a lot of people in a very small room and people wanted to get past, and it's just kind of a little bit difficult to move around. I get the fact. I'm glad I came during Christmas time because it was a Christmassy thing to do. But I think if I went back a second time, it would be in the off season,
right?
Where I could spend a little more time and actually appreciate things more. And do people get hurried through the tour more so in the wintertime?
I'm actually extremely excited you mentioned that because I highly recommend everybody to come during the off season. Like as much as I probably shouldn't say it on my tours,
right?
But I highly recommend, like, if you know anybody who want to come visit, have them come earlier in the year than Christmas time.
Right.
Yes, come to Christmas time to get the whole snow effect and, the Christmas experience and the pictures and everything. But if you come around like November to January, you will be standing in the Christmas storyline in the gift shop for at least about an hour and a half before you even see the cash register. And then you'll be standing in line outside for almost 2 hours before you even see the inside of the Christmas Story house. And then it's so busy, you don't even get a guided tour. You get a self-guided tour, which I'm okay with self-guided tours, but I really like the guided tours because you actually learn stuff about the movie.
Right.
Because you have a tour guide personally take you through through the house and the gift shop and giving you fun facts and underground stuff about the script and stuff about Gene Shepard and them as well, too. On the self-guided tours, we don't do anything. We just stand in those spots and we stare and watch you guys have fun. And only time we answer questions is if you ask us.
And also you say, don't touch that.
And I think it depends which experience you want.
Yeah.
Are the tours faster in the wintertime?
So guided tours takes at least about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
During the wintertime, it's self-guided, so you're literally in the house for about 10 minutes.
Right.
and then you're going to the museum and you're in there for about at least 10 minutes as well too. So roughly about 20 minutes to 25 minutes.
So there's a certain amount of charm of going during Christmas time.
Yeah.
But if you really want to dig in, I off season.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to enjoy it and actually get the whole tour guide experience, I highly recommend off season. If you just want to come here and you're on a time crunch and you're trying to come here, get a picture with the leg lamp, eat some soap, then and get out of here and go home, then I'm okay with you coming around in the seasonal time.
Where's the cutoff? Like early November?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's all pretty interesting. So then, going into the complex itself.
Mm-hmm.
So then, how did this come to be, really? Because obviously, we have these old houses that were filmed, but then this became a whole complex where it's a museum and then a place where you can get tours. So how did that all come to be?
I'm about to answer that. And then also to mention about the tours around the November, December time. If you want a guided tour, sometimes during the weekday. We do guided tours until about 4 or 5 o'clock. And then after that, it's all self-guided because usually people are off work and they're bringing their kids and their family. So if you do come during the busy season, I say try to be one of the first people here to actually get a guided tour.
Take a day off.
Yeah. And just tell your boss you sick, you shot your eye out, you ate some soap, you got soap poisoning, you can't see, things you can do. And then how did this all come about?
I hurt myself. Oh, fudge.
Oh, fudge.
Wait, you got this one.
It's hard to explain, but I put my tongue into the flagpole. I can't get the day off.
And you just go, and he goes, oh, yeah, clearly, because your tongue's still there. And then, the boss hangs up, and you go, yes, it worked. I knew this acting classes worked out.
Excuse me, Mr. Smith. Yeah, I can't come in. I'm blind. Oh, what happened? I ate some Lifebuoy soap. You got blind from soap? And go, well, have you ever ate Lifebuoy soap? No. Well, then you wouldn't know.
You're right. So don't be all in my business.
So, to answer the question about the complex and the houses here, so how this all came about. So after the 11 weeks of them filming here in the house, the guy moved back into his house. He used the $20,000 that they gave him to renovate, reconstruct, and recolor the whole entire house. Actually changed it from that gold to a blue because he wasn't a fan of the Hollywood type. He didn't want the publicity. He didn't want people around his house.
Right.
He ended up selling the house. Somebody else ended up buying the house. And they end up adding their touches of renovations as well, too. And then it happened one more time. Somebody sold it. Somebody bought it. They added their touches of renovations. And then the family that was living there last, they were actually put it on eBay in 2004 for $100,000. And our owner, Brian Jones, who used to serve in the Navy, he actually came across it and saw it, and he knew this was the actual Christmas Story house.
Right.
I mean, he didn't question them like, hey, do you know this is the Christmas Story house? He just was like, you know what? You're selling this for $100,000. I'm going to offer an extra $50,000. And he did, and he got it off of eBay for $150,000 in 2004.
Which is insane.
Yeah. And then from there, he spent up to almost $280,000 in renovations.
How much was it selling for before that? Like when it changed hands? What you say, like 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, I wouldn't know that one. Yeah, that's part of the facts that they didn't really give us on that one.
It probably wasn't as much, right? Because as we spoke about earlier, it wasn't as nice of a neighborhood then.
It wasn't. And then the more renovations that people was adding, they were still doing their usual house wear and tears.
Right.
So when he finally seen the house, even though he knew it was the Christmas Story house, and he offered that much, the house still was kind of run down. It was like to his last limb almost.
Oh, geez. Wow.
And it's an interesting neighborhood. I was actually looking at a map on realtor.com earlier today. It's a neighborhood that where it's getting better. It's not completely fully developed yet though.
It takes time. We're doing our best to put in our input to make sure the neighborhood gets better. That's why we have the whole restoration program, the restoration foundation program we got going on in the gift shop.
And really, all of these houses kind of look the same. Mm-hmm. You could buy a house in this neighborhood and you would be living in a house that kind of looks like the Christmas Story house.
With the old hardwood floors and the interesting wallpaper.
That's right. I've decided now it looks kind of half decent now. So it's where it's starting to warm up. It takes an acquired taste.
Acquired taste.
So then what about the Bumpus House and then the gift shop and the museum?
So those were all originally other houses. The gift shop was actually 2 houses.
Oh, okay.
Which he ended up buying as well too, and reconstructing it and making it the gift shop. That's why it's a little overwhelming when you walk in. Yeah. You don't think it's as big until you walk in and you go, "What the heck?" It's huge.
Right.
And we have so many leg lamps everywhere as well too. And then the museum, so there was a house in front of the museum where this parking lot is and the space is. That house was actually torn down. So our owner bought the next house, and he actually ended up renovating and reconstructing that as well too, making that the museum. And then the Bumpus House was always the Bumpus House. It was never another house. That space that you see between the Bumpus House and the Christmas Story house, that space was always originally there. There was there was not another house there. That was a lot.
It's a parking lot now.
Well, it was a parking lot before too. I'll explain that. When they were filming the movie, this space was actually really important because this is where they store all their equipment and their camera equipment and the trailers as well too. Right. So that's why that was very important for this space as well too. That's why they were really grateful. And then, so the people who lived in the Bumpus House just lived in the Bumpus House. They never actually showed the Bumpus House in the house, in the movie, I mean, but you do know there is a Bumpus House because the dogs come from somewhere. And the owner of the house, actually like at least 2 years ago, who used to stay here, he used to actually rent this space out for a parking lot. Like it was his yard, and he would pull your car in and you can park your car. He'd charge you like $5, $10, or maybe $15, and then you would tour the Christmas Story house. And our owner ended up buying this house from him as well too, 2 years ago. And then after putting money into renovating as well too, making it to our Christmas Story Airbnb as well too.
Right. So basically, we're sitting in a place that was just originally owned by, the guy who just was towing things and charging certain amounts. It's to see the Christmas Story house. So that's pretty interesting. So then all the stuff with the decorations. So is this what the interior was supposed to look like, or was this something where, well, this is going to be a replica of something that we might think might be the Bumpus House?
The whole reason for this interior of the house, the upstairs and the downstairs, which I'm going to show you guys the upstairs once we're done if you want to. But it's just to bring it back that 40s look.
Right.
Yeah, so this is just this is the furniture you would find in like the 40s.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks the way it does now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so
With
then
the unique wallpaper.
Well, I mean, I guess to credit something else, the glass bottles are kind of interesting. Those are very pretty. You got the blue and the little bit of the yellow, the green, the little bit of the aqua color, and then you have the amber, and then the little white, red, then the orange, and then the blue. You got the
nice little phone right up under it.
What are some things that people would see in the museum?
In the museum, you will find Darren McGavin's winter coat. You will find Ralphie, Randy, Scott Farkas, Grover Dill, Scott Swartz. You will find like their winter wear, like their hats. You will find Randy's jacket. I mean, not Randy's jacket. Ralphie's jacket. You'll find Randy's snowsuit. You'll find their one of the 6 Red Ryder BB guns that was specifically made for the movie. You'll find the Black Bart's costumes, the bowling servers. You'll find their costumes as well too. Our most interesting thing in there is Flash Gordon. You'll find a Flash Gordon costume in there.
Oh, right, because that was a deleted scene, right?
Yes, that is correct. So originally he's supposed to have another daydream where he uses his Red Ryder BB gun to help save Flash Gordon from being the Merciless. And they had to cut it because the movie went over 90 minutes and that wasn't a thing around that time.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
I know, only if they apply by those rules now.
I know, yeah. Now you got some films that are 2-3 hours long.
Actually, chapter 2 was 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess reaching to some sort of conclusion, we have to talk about one last thing.
Yes.
The leg lamps.
The leg lamps.
Arguably the biggest symbol.
The
iconic symbol of the movie. So how on earth did this come about? So this is from the short stories, right? This leg lamp?
So yes, and the leg lamp is actually, it was inspired from Knee-High Beverages.
Okay.
So if you look up Knee-High Beverages, you'll look at their logo. It's a leg with the stocking in the heel. Well, here's where it's fun because Knee-High Beverage is actually the people who sponsored the crossword puzzle that Darren McGavin is doing in the movie.
Oh, wow.
So that's what connects the whole entire leg lamp with the whole entire movie as well.
Oh, nice.
So when he wins the major award, he basically wins a lamp or a statue, aka a lamp from Knee-High Beverages from finishing the crossword puzzle. So that's why it was actually a leg lamp. It was actually also another one of those things for kicks and giggles as well too.
Absolutely.
And then actually it just became an iconic thing. Now another fun fact about the leg lamp, the one in the movie, you actually see all 3 leg lamps. So there were 3 specifically made for the movie.
Right.
Now, one of them you see get broken on accident when she was watering the plant. Now, if you notice, that one, it shatters into 3 pieces. Now,
and when you say accident, I saw you did air quotes,
Yeah.
which our listeners can't see.
yeah, she accidentally breaks the leg lamp watering the plants, which we knew she did on purpose because she was embarrassed by it as well, too.
Right. I mean, when you put it in the front window and you go, so you're a married man, huh? Yep. 2 kids. Yep. And you're putting a shapely leg lamp in the front window of the house. Oh yeah, that's totally logical.
It is. I mean, who wouldn't want the essence of the electric glow of this electric sex in their window?
Right. So of course, the mother winds up just like, oh, oops, I knocked into it. But then, so there's 3 of them, right? So then,
Yes. And I do love the fact that in one of the scenes when she turns the leg lamp off, he goes, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm saving electricity." But
and all the lights are on.
In the house are on. Right. I'm like, okay, that might have been the worst lie you can think of.
Oh yeah, right. So then it breaks into 3 pieces.
Yes. And then you see the second one when Darren McGavin is putting it back together. Sorry. You notice that he's putting it back together and it's in 2 pieces. And when you put the shade on it, it shatters into 2 pieces. So that's the second leg lamp. And the third leg lamp is the one that actually gets delivered in the Fragile crate.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so those are all 3 leg lamps in the movie. And I do have guests who actually notices that. They don't never notice the third one, but they do notice that it was 2 different leg lamps that was broken.
Right. What?
And you can buy them now, right?
Of course you can.
Yeah.
So the leg lamp is literally our prized possession. So why not make it into a buyable merchandise?
Some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger, right?
We have actual leg lamps, one actual size, so 50 inches. And then we have a 45 inch. Then we have a 26 inch and we have a 20 inch as well too. And then we have a nightlight. We have an ornament. We have keychains. We have magnets. We have socks. We have costumes.
Right.
We have leggings. We have sweaters. We have t-shirts with major awards on them. Shoot, you can even get a desktop. You can get a pop socket. You can get a sticker. You can get a Pandora bead, a leg lamp as well too. Mm-hmm. And you can get an ice tray and make little leg lamps.
And a bunny suit, right? You can get a bunny
I haven't
suit.
even gotten to the pink nightmares yet.
Right.
And then yes, you can get a pink nightmare bunny suit as well too. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but it's actually worth it. I'm not saying that because you're not working. I'm trying to upsell.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying that because I actually tried it on and it's actually extremely comfortable.
Oh.
Only thing is, I would not recommend it during like the spring, summertime.
Oh yeah, because you might just melt.
Yeah, you're definitely going to lose a lot of weight. But like,
oh, that's good. That's good for me. But then again, I'll just get dirty.
yeah, especially mud masha. We don't need that.
Oh yeah,
and
no.
don't send it back like, hey, this one got dirty. Well, that's normal wear and tear for you, sir.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, I highly recommend getting them for like those winter, those cozy days where you just want to sit in the house with your cup of hot chocolate and watch the Christmas Story movie. Or if not that, you want to watch any other Christmas movie as well too. They're extremely comfortable.
And people can jump online and go to achristmasstoryhouse.com, right?
Yes.
I think all in all, I mean, this is obviously a very interesting house that we're in. And I think, the whole experience has been fascinating. I think, is there anything else, Caesar, that you would want to cover?
When I first moved here, I actually didn't know that this existed. I actually drove by and I'm like, what is that?
You're just like, what? Christmas Story House? What?
Don't feel bad.
I think
I've been here my whole entire life and I didn't know until I got hired here.
I think it's underrated. I think it's a cool thing to do. And it's worth a trip to come to the city. Or if you live here, it's definitely worth just coming by and visiting. And, maybe if you're traveling again, like we were talking about earlier, it would be good for, come here and do some other things too. Right. At the same time.
Right. So go around, visit the city of Cleveland, visit the Christmas Story House, but make sure that your wheels are good for the snow, because otherwise you're going to lose control of your car, kid. Oh,
don't even get me on top of the Christmas Cleveland slush that we have here.
Oh, it's a little bit rough, but again, it's an entire experience. It's one of the highlights of the city, and we want to thank you, Ernie, for just being a wonderful guest. and providing so much humor and excitement and just information about the story of the movie and of course the entire complex.
And thank you guys for allowing us to come here and record in this awesome atmosphere.
I greatly appreciate it. It's definitely an opportunity, and I'm extremely honored as well too. I mean, it's not like this was my day off or anything.
Yeah, right. So it's been, live emails and, it's an absolute honor and privilege. So thank you. And I also want to say that now we can say we're in the same sentence as Geraldo Rivera, since he did a podcast episode here too. So Geraldo Rivera, you're going to be next. You're our next guest. And we're going to have a lot of questions for you about some of your journalism techniques. All right.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas. And hopefully I get to see some of you guys through some of my tours. Once again, my name is Ernie if you are looking for that. Also, nice little fun fact as well, too. You will see me on HGTV as well, too.
Oh, nice.
Yes. They came here. They interviewed me as well, too, for the Christmas special they're going to be doing.
Nice. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, then, watch for Ernie on HDTV and make sure you don't get any air rifles because you shoot your eye out, kid. Later.